We
Turn
said
that
the
light
exact
on.
same thing at the exact same time.
Oh, he did. There we go.
Like that should amaze us.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah. Right.
Duh.
I know. I just sent Morgan a note. I pushed live, by the way, but I just sent her a note, said I feel you, and then I'm walking back upstairs going, I always feel her. What am I even writing that for? It's like, so what's new here? We're saying things at the same time. What do we got here? We got one person in the house. I think it's hooking up. I'm gonna have to double check. So I'm gonna find something real quick to
Well, I hope we didn't tank your viewership.
No, I think it's gonna be a good crowd. Let's see. I'm gonna play this real quick so we can. Yeah, there's only 8 people in here so far. All right, we'll be right back. How's it going, everybody? We got Sandra and Alan in the house, the 2 little honeymooners that need to get a room most of the time because they can't keep their hands off each other.
Well, that works out well because we're in our room. So
yeah, and you got that. And you got some of that amazing stuff. I saw the one you did the other day. I forget what you called it. It's like 2 days ago. Was it? That's it right there. Yeah.
Yeah, this is it. It's called a wigwag design. I was watching some guy. I don't even know where he's from. I think he's from like Guatemala, or I'm thinking Central America somewhere.
Uh-huh.
And oh my God, it looks like he's living in squalor, and he puts out the most beautiful work. I'm like, okay, I want to learn how to do that. So this is the first one of this type I've attempted, and it didn't turn out too bad. I can see where I could have done some things a little bit better, but hey, first shot out of the box for a new design, I was like, yeah, baby.
He unveiled it when we were talking to James and Kirsty last night. So they
really?
got to see it first.
Yeah.
And they were like, whoa, it's like keys and codes, man. So we were like, oh, we'll put that up today.
Yeah, I think James even said there is something really powerful about that. He goes, that activated something.
It looks like a phoenix to me right here.
Yeah.
The wingspan.
So
he does great work.
Yeah.
So that's a wall hanging, right?
Yeah, it's 58 inch by 58 inch. It is for sale, by the way, if anybody's interested.
Right on.
I don't know if I can do that here, but I just did. So.
Absolutely, you can. Absolutely. That's part of it. We'll make sure we revisit that before we get out of here too, so we can support you. Yeah, because you guys have been doing this work for a long time. One of the first couples really to come out, I think. You guys have the radio show. Plus, you have your own story. You've been on the show and you talked about it. And you've also, just been instrumental in putting people together. We met in 2017. That seems like light years away.
Right?
Oh, my God. It seems like a whole nother lifetime ago.
I know. I think y'all were the first person I ever got onto a Zoom with. I'd never used Zoom or Skype or something. I can't remember what it was.
Skype.
Skype.
Yeah. But, man, things are just like and then you talk to someone like Patricia Cota Robles or just so many other people, especially these last couple of months. And I've made the comment a few times that, God, these people, they're just like, they're like such high frequency and they come on and they're so down to earth. Right. You know, she said at the beginning of the show, she said, I've been doing this 55 years and of course, and she just said it in a very matter of fact way. I've been working on myself the whole time. So
Yeah.
That just goes to show you, someone like that. But yeah, so what's going on in the Great White North? You're upstate New York, right?
No, we're over in Western New York, not too far from Buffalo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, we're kind of like right there on the edge of Pennsylvania, and all of that.
We're about an hour from Erie, Pennsylvania, and an hour from Buffalo.
Oh, okay. So you're a little south. Okay.
About a 5-minute walk from Lake Erie. Well, for us now, maybe a 10.
Yeah, it's still 50-degree weather today.
50. Well, I'm over here in New Mexico, and I just went out to start the bus. It's a diesel, and it has those, what are they, glow plugs?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, man, I hope I don't have to plug this thing in, because if it gets too cold, you have to plug it into a But no, it was okay. It just took a little longer to warm up. But yeah, it's in the high 40s here, low 50s. It's unseasonably cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know that this year has been just a smooth ride for y'all, like it has been for everybody else.
Oh yeah, but, smooth sailing. Yeah, absolutely.
I love him.
We need your eye roll to another universe.
I know, right? I almost wore that today. I deliberately bought a shirt at the beginning of the year, and it says I'm eye rolling myself into another universe.
Yeah.
Because the eye rolls became very prominent.
Yeah. And especially this year, we're eye rolling at a lot of things we're seeing and hearing. And at the same time, just really, loving everything in a bizarre kind of way that's going on. Because I was listening to that part of the conversation that you were having with Patricia, and I loved what you said, because we're seeing it too. I mean, everything right now is being divided.
Yeah.
And that perpetuation is going, and it's getting stronger. And, we're seeing a very clear dividing line. And I think Patricia even referenced that, this is our opportunity for that choice.
Yeah.
And your higher self is going to be coming in and saying, there's this way to go too.
Yeah.
So it's yours to choose if you so desire.
Yeah. I like the way she put that too, because, you see, and I actually got kind of not attacked, but somebody came in, was talking about how, you can't just go love and light, love and light, love and light. And I'm thinking, I don't think we do that here, but what it was is they were very, very much entrenched in, there's some bad guys over there, and this is a spiritual war, and we've got to fight them,
Yeah.
And which is always a good reminder for me, because I firmly believe that the most important intel is what comes out of our mouths, even though we might be thinking it's about somebody else, right? But yeah, it seems like it's coming to a head. I've been wanting to do whatever I can to kind of converge the disclosure and conspiracy and Starseed platforms, and it's interesting watching everything after the election stuff has kind of died down.
Yeah,
that a lot of people that were choosing one side or another, doesn't even matter what side it was, they're starting to, move away from that. And that's a good sign, I think. That's a real good sign.
Well, this is all energy. And if we can look at it that way from an energy perspective and looking at this from a personality perspective, then we can go into this. And it's like, we were talking with James and Kirsty last night, and it's like, we are here. As we've talked about the geographical twins, it's really funny because you came on the show on Saturday and download came in on Mother's Day, and I was in bed with a headache.
Really?
And every time that it puts me out and we're having a download, it's like, oh, this is going to get good.
Yeah.
And so we were talking, and I said, we have traveled. There's been a lot of travelers, and we were so interested in, you and Morgan have been travelers. So you've traveled from different place to different place, and you're pinpointing these vortexes, and there's always a negative and a positive vortex.
Yeah.
There has to be somebody that has taken up the mission to locate them and stabilize them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that what we're going to coin that negative vortex gets kind of a lid put on it. And as this darkness rises on this planet, it's it's elevating us, and we're going up higher and higher. The higher we go, when we get up to critical mass, what everybody's talking about, we pop the lids on the negative. And what happens to dark when you shine light on it?
Yeah.
It shifts everything.
Yeah, that's right.
So we're
See, that's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if, I never have bought into this whole event thing.
Yeah.
But I'm starting to wonder, is there going to be a point where we, literally wake up, like literally, like she was talking about, Patricia was talking about on the previous show, how this dimension is the least real. And, when she converses with her team, and at some point, and it feels like, obviously with people talking about what's been bleeding in so many different ways, whether it be visual or intel or whatever, but it just seems like it's got to, even if it's not in the mainstream media, it's got to get to a point where we're all going, you know what? Yeah, this is happening.
Well, how many of us have had bleed through where we've been able to observe things? It's just like with you in Washington.
Yeah.
Alan had a bleed through moment where he was outside doing something.
Oh my God.
And all of a sudden it's like he was looking down on himself going, you're in the wrong place right now.
It was like a conscious memory of what I was doing right there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I mean, not like deja vu, not like
I know what you're talking about.
But it was like I could see everything that I was doing, and I could feel everything that was going through my body at that point. But it was almost as if I was looking at that in remembrance and not currently in that present moment.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I had something like that happen 2 or 3 months ago. And I'm trying to remember if it happened more than once, but I know it happened once for sure, because I was with Morgan and I said the same thing you did. I said, this isn't a deja vu. I actually remember this point as being a point of reference.
Yeah.
That I would get to this point and go, oh, wait a minute. I remember now. Like and it was the same type of thing. I was split. Yeah. So those types, and I've had several people come on the show and talk about different episodes that they've had. Somebody was walking through a parking lot, and then all of a sudden everything went wobbly, and they were in another dimension just momentarily, and then it came back. So, yeah, I think these things are becoming. I really feel like there's got to be a whole lot more people involved with this than we think. There has to be.
Absolutely.
Oh,
unless it's just a very small neighborhood, and I can't believe it would be.
I don't believe that at all.
I don't think so. No, I think it's a collective thing. I mean, it really is. I mean, because there's so much that has been shown to us as what's, whatever is really real, but I mean, as far as like in our physical paradigm, what's real and what's just garbage,
right?
Right. I don't know if you want to call it propaganda or just flat out lying. But anyway, it's coercing us to get out of what we know we are,
right,
and who we know we are. And, there again, going back to the beginning and when we started talking about this, people are either going to choose it or not. And I think one of the good things that you pointed out in that interview with Patricia a little bit ago, these things that the bad people are doing, or the bad things that are going on, to us are bad, but to them, I don't think it is.
No,
I really don't. I mean, things that we do, on a daily basis that other people or cultures may think are bad, which are really not. They're just not what they do, and it's not what they're about.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm an old history buff, and if you look at some of the history, even before I started like researching after 9/11 and all that, but if you look at like the Aztecs, you look at a lot of cultures had sacrifice. There was a lot of, I mean, and Morgan and I are like you guys. I mean, we eat, drink, sleep this every day, and I'm at the point now where sometimes we'll be having a conversation and I just say, I don't really even care to talk about it anymore. I'm not worried about, it's not an issue how we got here. Like right to this moment, it's only, to me, the only thing that matters is where we're at and where we're going. Yeah. How we got here is just a story. If it involves ETs, it's just a story. If it involves a deep state or white hats. It's just part of the story that we're it, right? I mean, that's it.
Just feel like you're just watching a movie. I mean, that's what we describe it. Yeah. It's like we're just watching a movie and we're, just privy to it. I mean, there are times we don't even feel like people see us.
Yeah. Right?
I mean, really,
we go out in the car and almost get in an accident because it's like nobody sees your car.
Nobody sees you. Yeah. So then that gets you to thinking, okay, why don't they see us? And we kind of think that, and it doesn't happen all the time, but we almost think like we're in a different dimensional space than what they're occupying.
Yes.
And, they can't, it's like us only being able to see a certain spectrum of the visual light.
Right.
Anything outside of that, you can't see it with the human eye. And we think that's kind of what's going on here in a physical level. I mean, the way it's been shown to us.
Well, people have come on the show and talked about this. And in fact, it got kind of brought back up again because a couple of weeks ago, I went down into Fort Smith and treated myself to a bowl of gumbo and some beer and a beer at this restaurant. And so I went in and it was just a little, it was the bar part of the restaurant. There was two people sitting to my right, one to the left, three people behind this small bar, and nobody saw me. I mean, I'm sitting there going, and I knew they weren't being rude. And I just put my hand up and said, can I have a menu? And then I had to put my hand up again each time. And you would have thought that they were just being, but they weren't. They have very good service there. So I brought it up, and then all of a sudden you see the comments, it happened to me here, it happened to me there. Yeah, I think that's a real. And so how does all this stuff go down? I guess we're going to find out.
I really am getting more and more excited, but I got to tell you, this last little shift that we had, it wasn't pretty. It was
Are you talking about Mother's Day? Is that right? Was it
Mother's Day was a booger.
Right. So we did the show. I did the show with you on Saturday.
Yeah.
And then Sunday, I left. Is that right? I didn't even.
I think so.
Sunday, Sunday I left.
Yeah.
Yeah, and and of course Morgan is 8 hours behind us on the clock a day ahead, 16 hours ahead. So I drove, and I had told her before I left. I've already been told. The ancestors are calling me. Just get in the bus and go. And we'll tell you where to stop. So sure enough, the first night, that's what happened. I passed this sign. There was this weird Indian name, and I heard, go here. So I stopped, and I stopped in a parking lot. I looked, and there was this little nondescript RV park, quote unquote, which was basically just a pasture. And anyway, long story short, I pull up to the spot, and it was 22, by the way. Go figure.
Oh no!
And as soon as I opened up the door, the door because it's an old city bus, and for the door to people to come in, because it turns on all the lights. I want to go plug in the electricity. All the coyotes in this area started going off, which isn't the first time that's happened. And I thought, oh crap, 22 coyotes are going off. It almost scared me. It was that deep. But anyway, to go back to what happened to you. So at the same time, she gets hit with an energy bomb, and she was flat on her back for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
So when she woke up, she said something just came in. Something's going on. She usually gets it early. You probably do too. But like Patricia said, it's just one after the other now.
It is happening so frequently. I mean, we kind of laugh because every now and then somebody will say, "Man, it's like we're jumping timelines." At least once a day, and Alan and I are looking at each other going, once, where are you at? Because we want to be there. We're kind of this. It's really hard on the body. And we are noticing that the ones that are standing steady, and that's what we say, stand steady, hold steady. If you're geographical, you are there for a specific reason. It's really taken a toll on the body. So a lot of our brothers and sisters that are out there, they've been doing this by themselves, and they go, I really don't have anybody that I can go to that can do energy work that has an effect on me.
Yeah.
We're teaming up now. We're seeing this team up of, well, let us assist you and you assist us. Let's clear some of this out.
Yeah.
it's really taken a toll on the bodies, and it
is.
Just feels tired.
Do you feel like because on that note, so this would have been, let's see, if I was with you Saturday, I might have even mentioned it, but it would have been Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I cleared it Saturday night. So I used to get cedar allergy, cedar trees, right? When I lived in Dallas, and then later on in my life, I lived in San Antonio, and it would happen. It'd come down from the hill country, and it's a horrible thing. It feels flu-like. So as soon as it came in, of course, I'm with you now. Since I've hung around your sister for 5 years, I look at everything as energy. So when the cedar came in and I felt it, I thought, oh crap, I remember I don't like this. So I immediately went back to the places that happened to me and started digging in and had a great time with it. But for 3 nights, I soaked the beds. I soaked my queen size bed 3 nights in a row. I'm waking up every hour, the entire bed. I'm going to move from the wet side to the dry side, but the dry side's wet and the wet side's, it's just like, but I approach it energetically. And after the morning, Sunday morning, it would have been 5, 6, 7 in the morning. I woke up and thought, oh, I'm clear. But yeah, the body is really, really, and what I was going to ask you was, do you feel like that, and I know we've said this before, that we're being prepared, but man, it sure feels like a final swoop, like March and April seemed like a final swoop. I mean, there was a lot of people with the body and so on. Do you guys feel, does that resonate at all?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we know that the beginning of our 5 years was June the 10th. So we're seeing a reoccurring 5 years, and look at even Patricia, 55 years.
Yeah.
Okay. So we know that there's a compression. So if we're going through the compression, so are a lot of other people. And that means we spent the majority of our lifetimes, especially this time, really going out and exploring things. And they used to, I remember when the we first started coming in, they would say, "You're the stubborn ones." and I'd say, "Yeah, we are."
Just
and so we spent 30 some years walking through this life and not waking up as quickly as maybe we were supposed to,
or would like to have.
And then we had this compression of time. Okay, well, now that you've spent this 35 years doing your own thing, now say yes to the compression. And it is like putting a piece of coal in pressure.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a diamond when it comes out. Only the compression is way, way more intense than it would have been if we'd have just woke up and not been out there gallivanting and having to learn all these lessons and having fun,
Yeah.
It was like, boy, we're having fun.
Right.
But we look back on it now and went, boy, that wasn't real smart. Now was it?
No, not too much.
It's weird. It looks like that we are viewed that way, as a lot of the intel people have gotten. I know I've gotten that a lot. And Morgan's reminded me a lot, hey, you're stubborn. He doesn't listen. They tell her that. Not so much anymore, but at the same time, I don't think they knew what we were getting into either. Just like Patricia said, we didn't know what we were getting into to this degree. And I think by virtue of that, there's, we're earning our stripes in the universal family. I think that we're being seen with more reverence as time goes on.
Yeah.
And, I don't think that we realized that when we said yes and took up the call, that we were going to come back in and completely forget.
Yeah.
And have to remember, oh, we're here for a reason.
Say yes, they said. It'll be fun.
Yeah. It'll be fun, they said.
Okay.
But say yes is right. Yeah, that's right. I started after she left. So it had been like in the first 3 or 4 weeks, I started having these. I never have had the massive Ascension symptoms. I've had them from time to time, but people talk about. But man, I thought I was 2 or 3 times a day. I thought I was having, like something was seriously wrong, and I'd lay down, and that's what I would do. I'd say, please, yes, please, thank you, and just write it out that way. but yeah, to me, it really felt like we were ramping up. We're ramping up for something. So, and I know it can't just be Soulogy Fest. I know the universe isn't that thrilled with us.
Somebody in your chat room asked if they're not having all of those experiences like you and Morgan and Alan and I, are they not as advanced? And don't compare. Comparison kills. That's because the couples have a specific reason for being here and balancing the energies between the two so that they can hold the energy, the really intense energy. And we're so proud of Morgan and Todd. And
you guys are doing fantastic.
What you guys are doing, and
oh my God,
bringing that energy through, and we're going, whoo, we're really glad we're holding this geographical area and not where you're going to be in contact, physical contact with all those couples.
Yeah.
That's some intense energy. And it's like that grid is getting ready to fire up, folks.
I think so. I think it is. The last time we went to Sedona, that's what happened. And we were told, we were told 3-4 nights in a row, even the night before we got there. And we were told that it was just just the coordinates of the couples and even androgynous individuals. And it happened exactly the way she channeled it. We met with all these different people. There was a pulsation out from the area, and it was happening around the world as well. I got to believe that this is the same type of thing happening as we get into the second part of May. I think there's going to be a lot of gatherings, be they virtual or physical, and as well as these pulsations that go out with these new energies. I think Patricia talked a bit about that with the 555 gateway. And what was made available. I don't remember the exact words or terminology.
I know Morgan works with a lot of people. We work with quite a few people. And the pulsations, I'll literally feel them coming through. And I'll go, Alan, do you feel that? And he's like, what? And I said, that pulse. And he's like, no, I'm not feeling it.
Yeah, she gets that pleasure, not me.
It's coming through really strong in your hands and your body. You're just going, poof, poof. And a lot of people are like, how do I make this stop?
Yeah.
Lean into it and
don't run away from it. Whatever you do, don't run away from it.
That's what our human experience is. If it feels different, if it feels not normal, we're going to back away from it. Even Alan and I we had this experience just a few days ago where we were like, we look at the minute small things, but sometimes the big things are so glaring that we miss them now.
Yeah, exactly.
We had to reobserve it, but lean into it and just go, okay, it's uncomfortable. But if I can get to the other side, then I understand why it felt comfortable, because I just didn't know what it was.
Well, and one of the things I think that helped us through that is we've been through so many of those kind of things that we've learned, again, kind of the hard way, not that we're stubborn or anything like that, but we've learned to, instead of our natural reactive phase of running from it because it is uncomfortable, we're like, okay, this is presenting something. This kind of sucks, but we're going to lean into it. And we found out by doing that, reconditioning ourselves, if you will, that it's needed. It's a necessary process.
Yeah. And I think for me too, like this past, the period that I'm talking about, there were many physical episodes that didn't have anything go with it. Right. You know what I mean? Like the Cedar brought back certain things, and I went to revisit them, and it was very, very cool. Right. And it was about grid work, and it was about past lives and, clearing this and aligning that. But most of it has been just physical. Like I feel like I'm having a heart attack, or I feel like I'm going to faint, and I'm just like, okay, I know what this is. This is energy coming in. This is light coming in. So I just lay down and ride it out, even though it's 3 or 4 times a day, although it's getting a little bit better.
Yeah.
No, I'm glad to hear you say that, because I know I've been going through that a lot, especially over the last 3-4 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's me. Yeah.
Just been exhausted.
It started, one day we were sitting at the coffee table talking to our host, and I was drinking a cup of coffee, and I went to cough, And I was like, oh God, I got a mouthful of coffee. And I didn't want to spew coffee everywhere. So me being the human that I am, I said, okay, I'm not going to cough it everywhere. And when I breathed in, I breathed that coffee into my lungs. And I was literally drowning in coffee. And so Alan, for the first time that I can remember in a very long time, especially in the past 5 years, I could feel the panic. Because he doesn't panic about a lot of things. And I had to calm myself down. And when it was all said and done, I looked at him and I said, how long did that go on? Because it felt like it went on for like 3 minutes or so. And he goes, no.
Oh, that's about 10, 12, 13, something like that. It went on quite a while and it got my attention big time.
Yeah, so wow. I couldn't breathe. And he's like, the only thing I could do was stand behind you.
Let you know I was there.
If you did lose consciousness, catch you so you didn't hit your head. And from that moment on, something every day is shifting in a massive sense. It was almost like Alan's had resets where he had his TIAs, his mini strokes.
Yeah.
And if they can't slow you down in one sense, they're going to slow you down in another. And that completely put me out of commission for almost 3 days, didn't it?
Yeah.
Just trying to recoup from it.
Yeah.
And I was like,
crazy.
I'm not going to be the same.
but this is the kind of stuff. And then we tried to explain it. Well, it's no different than the bout I just had with the cedar. I knew it wasn't about the cedar. The cedar was just a symptom of the whole thing. Yep. Which was an energy, some energy that needed to be addressed, which can, be whatever. But yeah, I didn't look at it. Part of me was like going, oh, should I take some allergy medicine? And I was like, no. And I finally listened to Morgan. She goes, take 3-4 aspirin. And that helped, but it was the processing. And it really, I don't know of anything that I could have done to make it go away or make it, be less, less than 3 days long. And I knew even right down to the fact that it was 72 hours, that it was 3 days. It was right before I got in the bus and was leaving, but yeah, I'm paying a lot of attention to the body. I drove 2 days and I pulled in and I started to get that same feeling that it was 5-6 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm looking right at the sun. And you're in the car and the drone of the car and you're just like, and I thought, oh, am I getting tired? No, I felt it go in. The palpitation started. I thought, holy shit, I can't do this. I pulled over and I got a hotel room because I just knew I needed to rest. But it was my body. I'm listening to my body now like I never had before. And I think more people are.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because we're that way too. Well, we're programmed, aren't we, though? I mean, you trudge on, you just keep going no matter how you feel. And to a degree, I kind of agree with that. But at the same time, because there are certain things you just have to do. We get it. But, when you have the opportunity and you feel like, you know what, I'm just not really, you honor that. And it's taken a lot for me because I'm old school work ethic. I mean, you go till you drop.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah.
And I've had to really, and that's hard. That's a hard thing to train yourself, get out of that again.
We literally do subconscious reprogramming, listening to things when we're going to bed and different things like that, so that we can, even though our conscious minds are saying, well, I got this, our subconscious minds are going, you're pushing your body. And then these things start to happen and it slows you down. And I told Alan, I really hadn't thought about it until many, many days later after that happened. I wasn't taking enough conscious breaths.
Yeah.
So take my breath away and I'm going to pay attention. And it says, you're just breathing the way you naturally know how to breathe. Where's your conscious breath? So once you go back into that, you just start remembering, hey, let me stop, let me focus, let me take a focused breath and really just relax. Our bodies get so overstimulated.
And especially now with the unbelievable, we think, amounts of energy that are going on and just bouncing all over the place right now. it's even more important now, I think, than ever.
Absolutely, it is.
Yeah.
Well, it's like the body to me. I mean, if I watch the last, say the last 12 months or so, some of what Franco has to say in terms of the human aspect, which is, as I see it, that like the human has multidimensional aspect just in and of itself. So the mental and the emotional and the physical body, but the physical body, and more than one person said this, which is the physical body was the last one to come online. And so it's taken on this larger persona. It's speaking now. It's wanting to take its rightful place in this journey. I mean, it's a biological Merkaba, right? And so, I'm totally, in fact, it's probably the loudest thing going on for me right now is the body. I don't want this. Why did you eat the 2 pieces of pizza before you went to bed last night? Literally. And I'm waking up this morning going, I used to could do things and it was no big deal. But now my body's going, no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a natural progression, but there's still resistance because, by habits and behavioral patterns and, things that you like to eat, like pizza. But it's not one of the other things I noticed too is that through the previous, up until 2 months ago, the previous couple of years, I really could feel my body transforming, getting rid of metals or whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. My urine took on a smell at times. I'm like, what the hell? I might need to go to the doctor. And then all of a sudden, boom, clear as a bell. But some of my habits have changed too. But I got to believe a lot of it was stored. Just like the sweating those 3 nights, I knew because even if I felt the sweat, it didn't feel like sweat. It was kind of viscous. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was kind of like oily. And I just knew because my body was telling me and whatever my higher self was telling me, this is a purging. You're getting rid of some really, really dank stuff that's been down deep. So I got to believe that's happening for a lot of people.
Yeah. And have you noticed too, your sensitivity we have to chemical smells, talking about food?
Taste.
I mean, because we have really, that is just like ratcheted up throughout the years. And now, I mean, not even because of our own accord, but just because we can't stand the stench anymore of some of the chemicals because they're so prevalent.
Yeah. Yeah. Or not even being able to.
Food.
Huh?
We enjoy our food.
Yeah, me too. Morgan will tell you, and it's great. So I started juicing right after she left. And that was, I guess, by design because it was causing me to purge like crazy. And of course, I tell her, she goes, oh, yeah, that's going to happen when you do that. Thanks for telling me. But I do like 3 days of it, and then I couldn't do anymore. And I did. I cheated. I had a couple of little bites here and there while I was doing it. But that's even strange, too, because I love to cook. And I cooked like 3 meals right before I left. I couldn't eat anything. I had to throw it all out. Then I get to this campground that I was telling you about. So I brought I brought 2 coolers, and one of the coolers is full of stuff to juice with. So it's like 2:00 in the morning. I talked to Morgan. I'm laying there in bed and they're like, oh, you need to cook something. I'm like, I'm not even hungry. Right. I end up pulling out a green tomato because I was going to fry some green tomatoes.
Oh, yeah.
I pull out and I'm told to do this, a green tomato. What else was it? It was a green tomato. Red. I had made some organic refried red beans. I got a scoop of that, put it in olive oil, put it in a pan, put in the green tomatoes. Like I would never do this. And then I was told, get a banana. And I'm not a big banana eater. So I get a banana and I mix it all up and I'm like going to bring it out. I'm like, no, you need to cook it longer. So anyway, I guess it was some kind of ritual or something that happened. I ate a few bites of it and I went to bed. But I don't know. It's getting interesting. Wow. It's getting interesting.
Okay, that's one of the most bizarre combinations I think I've ever heard.
I would, and you know what? It was delicious.
Really?
Bananas are really good fried.
Bananas.
Yeah.
But
I can't do nightshades, and that just happened over the past month?
About a month. Yeah, about a month.
I can't do nightshades. I can't do tomatoes. I've cut. Alan even said this morning. He goes, "What is up with you and coffee?" Because I'm just
her coffee consumption has gone way down.
Way down?
Way down.
See, mine's, I'm having some things. I don't know. Well, I mean, this is not about me. I'm just, but yeah, I get what you're saying. I've had this, I've been going different directions. When you mention coffee, now I'll drink like 2 to 3 cups in a day, you know, and all of a sudden I'm drinking like 8 and 9. And I'm thinking, but it didn't feel, and that's another thing. You don't get enough sleep, but you feel okay. And then you sleep 14 hours one day, and then you sleep 2 hours, and then it doesn't make any sense. You know, you drink coffee all day, and I should be jittery, but I'm not. And the next day, I don't drink any coffee. So there's just no rhyme to the reason at all. Everything's up in the air.
I generally am up for 18-hour stretches.
Yeah.
And I'll tell Alan if I'm focused on the artwork, because he goes to bed at faithfully 10 o'clock.
Pretty much.
I wish I could do that.
Yeah. And so I sit up and I work on the art all night. And generally I go to bed in between 3 and 5 o'clock in the morning. And then I get up and we work with clients, and we continue to work on art when we have open time. And there for a while, I was just so wired. Alan will tell you, I was like the Energizer Bunny.
Oh my God. This one day, when was it? Sunday?
No, Sunday was when I was in bed.
Yeah.
So it was Friday.
Yeah, Friday. Yeah. Oh my God. She was like a freaking bumbleball. She was, someone hit her switch and she was just bouncing all over the place. And what about this? And what about that? What do you think we should do here? And I mean, I'm sitting there looking at her going, what in the world is wrong with you? I mean, I was glad to see her with such good energy, you know, because lately it has been kind of heavy, draining, you know, but then she went the opposite direction and she was just bouncing. She wore me out.
Unbelievable.
He took his glasses off.
Yeah.
Because he can't see without his glasses. He's getting ready to go to bed. He sits his glasses down and I said something to him and he goes, I said, oh, you can't see, can you? And he goes, no, I take my glasses off. I can't see, but there's nothing I can do to not hear. I'm dying, okay?
I take my glasses off. Nothing is in focus, so it's kind of like it kind of fades into the background, but she's still talking. And she's still got ideas, and she's still rambling on. And I'm like, oh, God.
Yeah, that sounds like me and Morgan reversed, though.
Oh, my Lord. I'm like, I'd love some of that. Just bottle that and give me some of that.
So you guys work with, we never really talked about this before. You guys, when you guys do sessions, do you work together or do you work separate with people?
No, we work together.
No, we work together. Do you work with individuals, couples? Tell us about your work.
Both.
Both, actually.
Yeah.
We'll work with individuals and we'll meet with them, and it's we'll know if we're supposed to work with them or not right off the bat as soon as we link in with them. And there are some very key elements that are going on. So most of the time, the couples that are coming to us or the individuals, they're sacred union couples. And so they're like, I'm stuck on this. So we'll, when we're going into session, it is not like it would be if you were going into a session with Morgan.
Right.
It's more like we sit back and we're the compassionate listeners, but we're listening to the energy and we can tweak it to a certain degree.
Right.
And then we'll start to notice things are shifting. And it's all about that reprogramming your subconscious mind.
Right.
Because you have a thought and you think, I've done all this work, but I can't move forward. It's because you've done this work, but at the same time, you still have a subconscious recording playing in the back of your brain saying, I'm scared.
And I think a lot of times, you know, because we all say, you know, well, I've worked on that. Why is this coming back up again? And the subconscious mind is such a vast, deep store of everything that we've done, said, been through, that I don't think we necessarily as humans understand really how deep it goes.
Right.
You know, and that's not just for someone. I mean, you know, we've gone through that. It's just like, oh my God, I've worked on, we've said it, you know, I've worked on that already. I did that. I've looked at this repeatedly. it's a deep chasm sometimes, some of this stuff. I mean, it is so traumatic and just so deeply ingrained in us.
What we say is from the very first time that you started until now, how far have you come? And we failed to give ourselves that gratitude and say, I've come this far and I'm doing great. But we always want to say, I need to do better. Okay. And the only reason that we say that is look at how far you've come. Give yourself that kudos and say, I've come so far, and quit thinking I have so much further to go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's kind of like, we've gotten to this point now, like even like, like what Morgan and I just did, physically separating because we're following the guidance. Why are we following the guidance? Because that's what we've been doing for the last 10 or 20 years, depending on who you're talking about. But we still question it. We say, I wonder if I'm doing the right thing, you're right. We need to take stock in, if nothing else, just take stock in the last few years, because the transformational energies have been just huge and they've all been coming through the individuals,
Yeah.
But
I kind of like that. And I wanted to get this in real quick. I didn't mean to cut you off, but
no, go ahead.
What Sandra said though, about saying, well, look where you were, because we've heard some people say, well, you can't do that. Otherwise, you're just reliving the story, retelling the story.
Right. You
know what? We're humans after all. And we need sometimes that little benchmark, saying, this occurred and I didn't react to it this way today. Whereas back then I would have done this or said that or whatever, so we think that it's a good thing to say, you know what? Yeah. And by that way, doing it like that, you're kind of taking it easy on yourself and giving yourself a break, because Lord knows on our journey, we didn't. I'm sure you didn't either, so you got to give yourself a break.
And you and Morgan both know that when you're 0 pointing, you can move ahead much quicker. Okay. Yeah. So 0 pointing means you're going to look at the positive as well as what we're going to coin the negative.
Yeah.
And you've got to balance the two out.
Yeah.
So if you are moving along and you're thinking, I'm doing all the positive, I'm not going to look at the negative. You can't 0 point.
That's right.
Okay. So you've got to come to that point where you can 0 point it. Do it in baby steps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what we discovered. We were doing energy attunement. So we can do energy attunements on people. And it's like, it takes them into, all they have to do is quiet their mind for about, if I can get them to quiet their mind for 15 to 20 seconds, it allows them to really shift through some stuff that, like I said, that conscious breath, that focusing, going into silence. How many people really know how to sit down and not hear anything? You got distractions all around. You got to bring those now. Yeah, but you got to bring those in and realize they're not really disturbing me the way I think they are. And come into that 0 point and look at these energies. That's all it is. It's not positive. It's not negative. It's energy. Energy doesn't know the difference between what you coined good and bad.
That's right. That's the same thing David Icke said when he came on. Because I asked him I said something to him like, so how do you keep pushing all these years through? Because he was talking about his story and all the resistance he got and all the ridicule and I said, how do you just keep pushing up against that negativity? He said, I don't see it as negativity. It's information. It's not positive or negative. It's just all information, which is what you're saying. But you bring up a good point too, because some of these things that we're discovering through all these complications that we're weeding through is that there's some really simple, profound rules of the road. And one of them is breath. I love what Patricia talked about in that regard. A lot of people have done, Martin McNichols talked about it, but or what you said, the conscious breath. Right. Yeah. There's a difference. The conscious breath. That's a very powerful thing. And I'm still sitting with it, having just heard it in a new way, because everything takes on an expanded meaning. But the other thing is too, and she talked about this and others have too, to ask for help. Right. She was talking about how as she understood it through the communication she's had, that the only way help can come is if from the realm that's asking.
Yeah.
If you don't ask, it doesn't come. Right. So I and maybe this is a Todd thing, but and I do communicate daily like most of us do, but I have to be conscious about asking for help. And anytime I do, I get it. And I think we can all attest to that, even since we're little kids praying on our knees for something, right? When we really prayed and we had our emotions in alignment. But to me, those are a couple of things that we could do that are pretty easy or simple to understand.
You just said it perfectly.
Yeah.
That your emotions are aligned to. So
right.
When we're talking to people, we tell them, what are feelings? Feelings are everything that people, places, and things outside of you. They've created you to have a reaction, I should say. Right. Sometimes it's a response, but we're real familiar with those. Those are the things that like to trigger us so much. Yeah. But what is the alignment within us? That perfect alignment that says, okay, you tell someone, just be happy. If they've never been happy, they don't know that emotion. So how are they going to feel it?
Yeah.
So a lot of times people are saying, but I'm getting angry. Well, lean into it. Yeah. Because underneath it, there's something else. And it's trying to come up. But if we keep pulling back rather than leaning in and going, well, I'm not going to get angry because, like the Hulk, you wouldn't like me when I'm angry. Most people don't like themselves or people that get angry, but lean into it in a controlled environment. We tell people, if you've got that much anger or something coming up, go someplace and a safe environment and throw something and just feel the empowerment of taking your energy back.
Feel it and release it.
Yeah, like a primal scream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You ever do those?
My God.
You jump in the car and you're like,
oh my Lord.
The biggest shifts I've ever had is when he pushes me and I go for a walk and I'm yelling, and I know people are staring at me and I'm like, you know what? You better give me a good clear sign because this man just triggered me beyond triggers. And I'll come back and it's like everything is just as calm and everything's shifted through. And he goes, are you all right? And I'm fine.
I'm fine now.
Yeah. Yeah, so, it's such a personal trip, but don't take anything personal from anyone else, right? But it's so personal. Everything is, what happened to me today, I forget what, but it was one of those things where I'm looking at somebody in that area where there's discernment, judgment, observation, and I'm going, hey, that's not cool. But it's not about that person. It wasn't about him. It was about me. Right. Yeah. And I love what you said earlier too, because it's always a good idea to double check and not just go, oh, I'm just observing, I mean, I can't, I know I can't, I have to go, well, wait a minute. Why do I keep seeing it? If I'm just observing it, because what you said is true. Morgan says the same thing, and I get to witness it a lot and then I do it. And that's where these things come back just to show you that you are observing.
Right.
But it's good to keep yourself in check because God knows the slices of humble pie, as I said the other day, are being served in large portions on a daily basis. If anybody needs some, believe me, there's plenty to go around.
I said, if you were to climb a ladder, and we all hear this phrase, and it's very common, I feel like I've climbed so far, and then I slide back down the ladder, and I'm back to the ground again, and I've got to climb it. And so we say, turn it sideways. Turn it sideways and realize you're going to revisit things that you thought you cleared. But it's not going to be for the reason you think it is.
Right.
It's going to be, how am I responding versus reacting? And it may take you 10 reactionary phases to get to one response. And when you get to that response, pat yourself on the back because that means you're growing and you're moving forward in leaps and bounds, but you're not giving yourself credit for it.
Yeah, that's right. Man, we've come a long way.
Yeah.
Boy,
even if you just look at the last few years, I mean, this is we're at warp speed here. So now, how do you guys get your clients? Do they just come to you through the radio show, or
they find us?
They just find you?
Yeah,
well, it's organic.
Yeah. We don't take on a whole lot of clients because we dedicate a lot of our time to art. And one of the things that Alan and I are steadfast at, and a lot of people are like, can you get me in early in the morning? I'm like, no, because I'm up till early in the morning and I go to sleep. And then when Alan and I get up in the morning, that's our time. That's our time together. That's where we talk about dreams. That's where we talk about everything that's went on. And that's our time.
And we guard that very, very strongly.
And so a lot of times it'll be someone has referred them to us or they found us on an interview or something like that. And they know and we know if they come to us what's going on. Because we don't offer anything but to sit behind a computer and to help you transmute something and have a normal conversation. And most people are like, I can't believe I feel like this. Why do I feel like this? All we've done is sit here and talk. We talk just like we're talking with you.
Excuse me.
And every once in a while, the we will come through and Alan goes, it's like there was a very, very important message for that person to hear.
Yeah.
And
it's great.
Yeah.
It's really great.
And people have that. Say yes to, and understand that we're ascending into a physical body. That's one of the most amazing things ever. And say yes and bring all of your aspects into you and watch what happens.
Yeah, we kind of got out of that thing of saying, well, no, I don't know if I want to say yes or that or not. It's just like, you know what? You've been saying no or I don't know your whole life, and where are you? I mean, that's kind of what we did, just like, okay, maybe we got to break out of our old patterns and of behavior and habits and try something different. And we firmly believe that if we hadn't have said yes, years ago now,
we wouldn't be here
we
right now.
We wouldn't be where we are. Right, the Lord knows,
Yeah, I agree.
So
and like what's going to come your way at this time, you know what I mean? Really. In this energy, you heard, I don't know if you saw the first part of that show, Patricia was talking about, she said it better. And for years, I kind of understood that we were at the end of a cycle of cycles, right? Like, so all these cycles within this big cycle, we're at the end of it, right? So there's all these cycles aligning, more than usual. She was saying basically the same thing. She was saying, this is that big of an occasion, like the whole universe is focused on this. So I might say these things if I'm doing a radio show or something, or I pick them up from people and think, if I really stop to think, oh, I wonder if that's just me, like, are the human species really coming out? But based on what she was saying and what I've picked up from other people, this is really going down. I mean, the specialness, the awesomeness of what we're actually coming into. I mean, the biggest thing to accept, I think, is going to be ourselves. I mean, that's pretty mind-blowing to think I can physically teleport to South Australia and have a honeymoon tonight. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm making a joke, but I mean, this is the kind of thing that I feel like, and as I've talked about this in the last couple of weeks with some people that are pretty high frequency, I didn't know. I wasn't looking for someone to tell me what I want to hear, but they seem to feel the same way. That and if it's us, it's got to be other people too. And I know you guys have had your share of experiences over the years, and also with people.
We can sit here with smiles on our face, guys, but we've really went through some stuff, just like you and Morgan have. Sure. And there's a lot of people out there that have went through a lot. They try to keep a smile on their face. In fact, one of the things that Alan and I just discovered after we had you on the show was, if we can't have our frequency, it's at a certain level before we're going to do the radio show, generally we'll do a rebroadcast or something. And we were like, no, because everybody thinks that because you see us happy and smiling, you know, the lovebirds, that we don't have bad days. And so I looked at Alan. This was one of those things I was having, and I said, no, we're going on. We're going on even when we're not in this great space, because number one, we're holding our frequency. So just because we have a bad day doesn't mean our frequency goes down. It means we are getting something out that needs to go by.
And that's one of the things that we really liked what you said when you came on with us Saturday. And you say it all the time anyway, but I mean, it just got reiterated on Saturday, is we're going to keep it raw and real, you know, because there are so many people out there we have seen, you know, and they always have this face on like everything's wonderful all the time. You know, utopia is mine, you know, I live in Xanadu or whatever, you know, and they may or may not. I'm not saying they do or don't, but, you know, we're all human. We all have crappy days. And it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. No, I agree with what you said. I heard that in no uncertain terms in March when I didn't want to go on. I told you about this for 5 days, and I did because I was told. And there's that was such a cool experience. And then to hear you say that, I didn't know that. But I think that's really important that people we don't have to spit and polish everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually more valuable if you don't. That's the whole point. Yeah.
We're real and raw when we're dealing with our clients, because if we're having one of those days and Alan's feeling a little bit sarcastic or whatever it is, you'll actually see us go, what? You know, and then all of a sudden when the adults try to get involved, Alan and I go into the little children. So we back up. And we let the little kids have the argument, because it's funny there. Okay. Little kids will argue, they get over it and they move on. And if the adults get involved, it turns into this big energetic ball of what you do not want to deal with.
It can just be a red hot mess.
So we'll just start teasing each other. You'll see us snap, and then we look at each other, and then it's like, you take care of yourself.
Right.
And he'll say, you mind your own business, because you're being not nice. You don't touch me.
Don't touch me.
And our clients actually get to see us do that.
That's cool.
And I think it's a really good testament to when you feel the adult get triggered, actually it's the child getting triggered. Let them be triggered, but pull the adult away. The adult's going to make this way worse than it has to be.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, it's invaluable. It's invaluable to show up. It's just a replication of what we've done already. We all showed up, you know.
Amen.
You're exhausted some of the days when you show up, Todd, and we know
that's why I'm in this hotel room. I'm like, oh, I'm going to be in the bus. I'm going to be out on the land, which I am. But I knew I need help. I mean, I was on my last leg here. Yeah, I mean, for me anyway, I mean, no matter what's going on, you got to respect the energy. And if the energy wants me flat on my back, then I got to be flat on my back. You know, but I still keep going back to the same thing. I feel as the days go by, especially these last few weeks, especially since the equinox, the equinox is everything's going our way. Everything's going our way. The only thing that's not going our way is obvious. It's the separation, the division, the rhetoric, the narratives, the stories, the suggestive programming, the subliminal. It's nothing. Look, we beat chemtrails, GMOs, fluoride, programming, and we're not survivors. The soul can't survive because the soul never dies.
Right.
So, if we look at the physicality of it, I mean, I remember when I met you guys, and I was pretty fresh. I was doing Soulogy, which was mostly just me. And I was in New York, and I remember you showed me something, and I'll never forget it. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but it was an image. It was a picture taken by a camera.
Oh yeah.
And like so many people, we get things, we say things, but we haven't yet embodied them. Thank you, Morgan Lee. She'd say, you're saying it, but you're not. And but that's true. But when I saw that image, I thought it was another layer of, wow, this is where we're going. So just seeing it is no different than your clients seeing y'all in the raw, right? You know, seeing y'all have a little, little tiff, whatever. It's valuable because you're not hiding anything. We need total transparency. I mean, it's obvious. The things that we want to embody aren't the hard things. It's actually pretty easy. It's just getting over the embarrassment or what people will think, right?
Right. Mm-hmm. That's big. That's a biggie right there.
That picture is something that every human being on the face of this planet is capable of doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's moving there. But for their 3D mind to download it and comprehend it is like, what is that?
Yeah.
Well, Alan and I looked at each other and went, oh my God, that's amazing.
That is so cool.
When you can see such things. And you're talking about the light body, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And when you can physically pick that up on an electronic and you go, oh my goodness, what is that? And we sent those pictures off to everybody we could think of.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh my God. One of them came back and said, oh my God, your frequency is off the chain. And we're like, we know, we got burns on our body from it. At the time, that was pretty intense. And now we look at it and we go, every time we go out in public, someone who does not know about it looks at us and they're drawn to us, some of them, and they chase Alan around the store.
Oh my God.
That's what it looks like to them.
Wow.
And that's what we see. So we get to be out there having fun and just shining our light until all this stuff happened. But we still shine our light on the computer.
Yeah, not so much over the last year, but up until then. I had one old guy in Washington State one time. He could barely walk. He was out in the parking lot. He was getting ready to leave. And he somehow, I mean, it was probably 50 yards from where he was parked. He found me in the store to tell me a joke. He found it that important to come back and tell me a joke. And then a sweet old man, sweet guy. And I remember kind of looking at him going, oh, that's funny. I'm thinking to myself, you can barely walk. Why did you go through all that effort to come back in here? I didn't put it together right away. And then we were talking about it later and I'm like, wow, that's crazy.
It's like a bead of honey. Well,
yeah.
I mean, that's the perfect literal metaphor. Yeah. So if somebody wanted to, check you out as far as looking at having a session, how would they go about doing that?
They just go to twinflamedivinefire.com and go to our services and it'll bring it up. We only do 2 things anymore. We're only doing, they can do 4 sessions where it's 1 time a week, or they can have 1 session and a recalibration, which is actually when we bring out all of the good stuff.
Yeah.
And do a recalibration on them. But we don't do those too frequently. They can become addictive.
Yeah.
And
the recalibration is something where I kind of help anchor the energy. Sandra goes in and kind of helps start clearing out some of the chakra areas and some of the heavier dense stuff. And we use music to do it. Anywhere from a 3 to 6.5 minute piece. So I mean it's fairly quick, but it is thorough. It is intense energetically in a good way. And that's what that entails, just so your listening audience knows.
And what about this? I mean, how many pieces of I know your art's not just limited to what we're looking at behind you, but I know you guys do some other stuff too. But you've been really had the nose to the grindstone on this for about 1.5 years, I think. I mean, you guys have had to produce just boatloads of stuff.
The boards that are on the website that you'll see, those are intuitive boards. So people will contact me and we'll do a session together. It's a sit down thing that we kind of
like a consultation,
link into it and go, okay, this is something that they need. And it's all sacred geometry, kind of like Morgan does, sacred geometry, and they'll be drawn to a certain symbol or whatever it is. And I'll go into it, and then I start downloading what it is they need on the board. It kind of freaks people out sometimes.
Oh, she's been spot on.
They'll say, "Oh my God, you're not going to believe this. You drew that on my board." And they'll go,
"Look what I have in my home.
Look what I have in my house, in my bedroom that you have never seen. You didn't know it was here. You're kind of freaking me out." And it would be a symbol of something that maybe a mother or a father had given them. And it was really important that they have it on the board. It's kind of like a hero's journey if you look at the boards. And they're grids that are made for your crystals, so it amplifies them. We're pulling energy from E8 onto the board. And the board is being read by E8, which is a 9th dimensional state.
Wow.
And it's saying, oh, this is what you need in your space, in your 3D space for you to complete your mission.
Wow. Far out.
They take weeks to do. He's like, I'm so glad I do the tie-dye because it didn't take that long.
Yeah. Mine's much quicker. I don't have I have the attention span of a ferret. If I had to sit down and do what she does, I would lose my mind. That's why I love doing the tie-dye thing. It's much quicker, and it gratifies my need for speed, if you will.
Well, I've seen a lot of tie-dyes. Yours are amazing. Absolutely amazing.
I think Morgan probably goes into an altered state when she's doing her mandalas.
I'm thinking.
Oh my God. You should have seen her the 2.5 weeks that we were in universal isolation. Because I spent all my time in the downstairs in the forest. She was upstairs on the couch crocheting. And, you know, she never does anything unless it's conscious. And I would walk up there and she would be like a mad woman. Just, she made 3 blankets in 2.5 weeks. I'm talking about big, heavy blankets with trim around them. Oh, I mean, I actually walked up there a couple times. I went, I wonder if she's okay. Like, is there something going on? But I knew. And of course, that's what she was doing. It's all conscious.
When you focus on something like that, you're actually shutting everything down and going into this amazing space that you can't find unless you do shut everything down. Yeah,
that's what she was doing. In fact, I brought one with me because I told her I want that energy with me, man. It's a spirit of transformation. Yeah.
Being in the zone.
We actually had a 4-year-old tell us that Alan, it was funny because we have a couple that used to live with us up on the mountain. They lived across the street and they wanted one of his yin yangs. And so he made it and he sent it and they had it on the table, and their nephew, mama was having a baby. 4. The nephew came to stay with them. He was 4 years old and he kept crawling underneath the table. And they kept saying, you can't go under there because it was a pretty good sized table. And I think they had the cat litter off to the back. And they were afraid this 4-year-old was getting in there. And he comes out and he goes, guys, do you not realize you have your very own portal?
No.
A 4-year-old.
A 4-year-old.
Yeah.
And they were like, what?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that the way that a child thinks is so different than the way an adult thinks.
Oh, I know. And think about all the stuff we shut down.
Yeah. They're still fresh in it.
I found myself going back to, because I used to play in the yard a lot by myself. Well, you couldn't see anybody with me. Let's put it that way.
Right.
But I would spend all my time back there. And this would be like, 4, 5, 6, 7, probably that. And it was an endless paradise, it was a universe. And I don't know why I've been revisiting that lately. I think maybe it has to do with what's happening for all of us right now. And I was trying to explain this to Morgan last night. Like I can't really put words to it, but I've got it. I got a beat on it. And I know it doesn't include laws and passports and borders and all these things, right? And I can't figure out, I haven't figured it out, but it has something to do with that energy. That when you're a kid and you're what they called make believe. Well, it wasn't make believe.
Yeah, that's what we've said too. It's just like it's getting back to that childlike energy and knowing and innocence.
We're going back to a time and we're remembering things so that we can shut down the childlike memories that we have, so we can bring it into our now moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
and all the resistance that was put before us that wasn't even there, we bought into it.
Right.
So that's what I see happening. Obviously that's being deconstructed and it's going to happen anyway, but is there something I can do in my life to deconstruct that? And I guess now that I'm talking to you, this is how this all works, right? So I'm talking to you and I'm thinking to myself, yeah, I sure have been going back to that. I mean, I can see it as clear as day. I've been going back to that a lot in the last few weeks. There's got to be a connection.
Oh,
all right. TwinFlameDivineFire.com. You guys, these folks have been doing this for quite some time, quietly, without a lot of rah-rah, look at me kind of thing. And they're in a marketing, here you are, you're in a marketing and PR type of media. Mm-hmm. And so you're very humble and you're getting it done. And I just want to appeal to everybody on the live and on the replay. You got 78 people in the house. Let's support. Support is a form of collaboration and co-creation. So let's take a look at what Sandra and Alan have on their website and see if there's something that resonates with you, because their stuff is good. It's very good. You can see behind you, you can see on his shirt, and you can see from what they've had to say and how they approach things with their sessions and such. So I just want to say to you guys, I'm very grateful to be connected to you, on a personal level and as a couple, with Morgan. You've been great supporters for Soulogy, and it's been invaluable. And I hope to see you in the flesh sometime this year.
Oh, it's going to happen.
Yes,
it's going to happen. And thank you.
We want a bus too. I think we're going to try and do a bus.
That'd be awesome.
Road trip.
Well, get a big one.
Yeah, it's going to have to be. Have you seen how tall this guy is?
No, how tall is he? I didn't know he was tall. How tall
I think I've shrunk a little bit. I'm down to 6'3", I think now.
So. Oh, okay. You're a little bit taller than me.
5'4". What does that tell you?
Oh, Morgan's 5'5.5", I think, and I'm 6'2".
I had the impression you were kind of tall.
Yeah, I'm 6'2 1/4".
Yeah, that's respectable.
Well, yeah, I'm not up there in your range, but I'm close enough. You guys take care. Thank you so much.
You too. Thank you so much for having us on the show.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Twin Flame, Divine Fire Radio. You guys get over there and give them a look, and let's see if we can't support them a little bit. And until the next time,
we love you, bro.
I love you too. Y'all take care, everybody. We'll see you later today or maybe tomorrow. I haven't quite figured that out yet. If I'm going to be flat on my back or on the road or whatever, but right now I'm going to call my bride and see what's happening. I'll see y'all later.
Awesome.
Take care, everybody.